Hey, running friends. Welcome to the Wrinkled Runner podcast. I'm Sherry, the Wrinkled Runner. I'm over 50 and I love to run wherever I go, but Buffalo, New York is my home. If you are looking to start to run or you're an older runner, this podcast is especially for you, so subscribe now. I love to help people get running and keep running.
All right, welcome back. We are going to get into our next workout here for the RRCA Start to Run program. Okay, we are beginning our 5-minute warm-up, and like in the past few weeks, I am having you do your own, and I'm just giving you minutes of warning every time a minute goes by, and then giving you 2 minutes to get out the door. This will be the last week that I do that. I'm just going to give you the 5 minutes starting next week, and you can fill that in how you want to. And that will also get used to using an interval timer. If you haven't done that yet, you should be if you're doing your workouts throughout the week, in addition to this one. But you should be able to put together your own 5-minute warm-up, and in the intervals that you so choose. You don't have to do like 3, 2, 1. Okay, another minute. You don't have to do a minute of A skips or a minute of knee grabs. You could do 30 seconds. You could do 20 seconds. You can design it however you want. You're getting the body warmed up, and this is for you and what you like to do. I feel like if you do a warm-up that you like, then you're actually going to take the time to warm up, because so many runners do not. So that's why I'm really digging in with this is your warm-up. This is your time to warm up. I'm once again in the Forest Lawn Cemetery, and this time I walked here first before starting the episode, just so that it was quiet. There was a lot of noise and cars and everything the last few times. So, okay, warm up for another minute, and then you can continue your warm up if you're on a treadmill, or get out the door if that's where you're going for your run, whatever. You'll have 2 minutes to walk it out or whatever you need to do. Now, today we are starting the 6-minute run, 2-minute walk. So even though we're adding another minute, we are actually adding another minute of recovery time. So the past few weeks, you only had 1 minute of walking recovery, and today you're going to go to a 2-minute one. Okay, now what's going to happen at the end of this workout is, because of how it is set up, you're going to be running, but you're run walking, but you're going to only be doing this. There we go. 2, 1. All right, 2 more minutes. It's going to go to 32 minutes just because of how it's set up. So you're going to be doing the 6-minute run, 2-minute walk 4 times. Okay, so that gives you a tick over the 30 minutes for the run walk section, but then you'll have like a 3-minute cool down. So today's session, I believe I set it up so it's a little bit shorter overall, but your actual run walking intervals is like 2 minutes longer than what it normally would be. So anyway, just an explanation for that. And so now we're starting to get into the nitty-gritty, and we're starting to lower the amount of intervals, because the time on your feet for running is getting longer. And so as the weeks go on, you're going to have less of the intervals, because it's going to make up the 30 minutes for the run walk, but you're going to have an expanded period of time where you're running. So I'm hoping that you are starting to really get this down and really feeling like you're stronger, this week you can actually run up to 5 times a week if you want to. So that's a pretty big jump actually, to go from 4 to 5, in addition to adding in that extra minute. But with a 2-minute walk break, that does give you a little extra recovery time. So it kind of all balances out. And again, just, keep in mind whether you can do it or not. Okay, we're going to run for 6 minutes. So yeah, just keep that in mind. You can go up to 5 days. And obviously, if you do 5 days, you are going to have back-to-back runs on consecutive days for some of the week. And that's a time to really, especially like if you run today and then you run again tomorrow, to really check in and make sure that your body is feeling good and strong. And, it might not be easy. Okay, it might feel hard, but again, as long as there's no pain and you're not feeling like you really need to have an extra day of recovery, you can go ahead and decide up to 5 days how many days you'd like to run this 6-2. Okay, so we are, there's a employee driving around. I think they were following me around the other day too. They're probably wondering what the heck I'm doing in here for so long, running around. But if I do get talked to, then you'll be a part of it. But I didn't expect to. I do know, like I've said before, that the cemetery does encourage people to walk around and run and, visit it. So I think I'm okay. All right, so you have just about 4 more minutes to go with the run. Now I'm enjoying, because this is my off season, so to speak. I am really enjoying being able to get out here and get my time in by doing these run walks with you. It's been a really good way for me to just look around and smell the roses, so to speak, even though there aren't any in the tundra that is Buffalo in January. But that's one thing that to keep in mind as you're getting more into running, and as you run more distances and you run for longer periods of time, is, don't get so caught up in it that you don't notice the cool things that are around you. You're fine to stop and, look at something, or take a detour, or even pause and go do something else. So many runners, we get like, oh, we have to run, we have to, never stop. And no, you get to stop and enjoy what is around you. That's one of the great things about being a runner. If you run outside, is you get to experience being outside along with your exercising or your sport, or however you look at this. And so I have learned that, that 30-second walk to go look at something that's really cool, it's not going to be detrimental. And, for some of you, if you want to check out Jeff Galloway, he is kind of the father of the run, walk, run method. You can run, walk for the rest of your life if you so desire. So if that's something that you would like to look into more, is keeping up with the run walking and not graduating to, running all the miles all the time, I'll put that link below to his website, and he has a lot of information for you to look at. And you can, like, he and his wife, I have heard podcast episodes of him and his wife, and they can run a marathon almost every weekend, and I believe they're in their mid-70s at this point. But because they run walk the whole thing, they don't get the wear and tear on their bodies that those of us who run the marathons do. So I know eventually I will probably be switching to the run walk as I get older so that I can still do the marathons and longer distances, but be a little bit more kind to my body. Okay. About 40 seconds before we hit the 2-minute walk break. I think you're going to like the 2-minute walk break because I'm kind of used to just the 1-minute one. So this one's you're going to feel like it's a little bit easier maybe, or that the interval isn't so hard. I know those 1-minute rests cannot feel like a rest as much. All right, ready? Okay, recover for 2 minutes. All right. I'm trying really hard not to what we call the porno breathing especially when I stop with the running. That's when I start to breathe heavy. And I'm trying to be a little more mindful of that because I've had to cut out so much of it in the episode I did, the last couple episodes anyway. Because I do want to run this with you, but I also don't want to be just gross, I guess. I don't know. So hopefully you guys are okay with some heavy breathing once in a while. Now, I know last week we talked about, I think it was last week, setting a goal, and that could possibly be a 5K race, even if you walk it. So how did that go this week with your goal setting? Did you make any small attainable goals that will give you a win with your running? Those kinds of things can really help you get to where you want to go and to keep at it. If you have these small little goals, you can have a big goal. Even if you just are starting to learn to run and you've never run before, you can have a goal of running a marathon or whatever, running a, pick a pace mile, thing that you want to do. But you have to have small attainable goals on the way, on the journey to that. Okay, and run for 6 minutes. Because if your goal and you're just starting to run is to run a marathon, unless you are a superhuman, and there are some running outliers, but unless you are one of them, it's going to be a few years probably before you run a marathon. At least run one smartly. And so that can be very discouraging if you're thinking, well, in May, June 2024, 2025, say, I'm going to run a marathon. But if you don't have these more attainable goals on the way to that, it might be harder to keep with it. So one of the goals that I've been thinking of telling you guys to do for next week even is look at the end of this week to whatever your distance is. Say it's 2.2, okay? And I'm just pulling that out of my head. I have no idea where any of you are. You might be beyond that, and you might not have even gotten there yet. It's just an arbitrary number. So don't didn't let that get in your head at all. But for the following week, the end of next week, one of your goals could be to see how close to the next round number up you could get to, because next week you'll be running 7 threes, and so you might be able to cover a bit more distance. And so, whatever your mileage number is, maybe see if you can get to, if you're 2.2, get to 2.5 by the end of next week. If you're already at 2.5, see if you can get to 3.0, or, whatever. Pick a 0.5 and see if you can reach that next distance from just your running. And especially like if you're adding in an extra day, you will probably be able to get to that goal. So go ahead and try that. Write that down. How that is something that you're going to do by the end of next week. And one way that can encourage you to get there is if you're only running 3 times a week, or if you're running, whatever number you're running, then add that extra day in, and that will probably get you to the next level just by adding in the extra day. And let me say, before I forget, if you are only running 3 times in a week, then I don't want you to get up to the 5 times this week. I want you to graduate to the 4 times and do that for a couple weeks before you graduate up to 5 times a week. Okay, so just keep that in mind. I don't think I was very clear about that before. So again, guys, long silences mean I'm blowing my nose. So it's a combination of getting to the end of being sick, and also it's just me in the winter when I run. So now, some of you may be feeling encouraged by what you've been doing and seeing some progress, feeling a bit stronger. But then there's also people who may be feeling discouraged about this whole process. Maybe you're not seeing the advancement that you thought you would see or would like to see. And so it can be discouraging. And when we were talking about motivations before, and whether they're internal or external motivations, the internal motivation will see you through the discouraging times much better than the external. Okay, so external, if we have an external goal, such as we want to lose however many pounds in a certain amount of time, and then that doesn't happen not because we want it so much for ourselves, if we're honest about it, but because we want it for a significant other, or someone else we're trying to impress, or whatever. You're more likely to actually quit when things get tough and discouraging and you don't see progress, rather than that being the gumption that you need to keep going. So try to identify for yourself, okay, recover 2 minutes. Try to identify for yourself internal reasons why you're doing this, because that is going to take you a lot further when things get discouraging. When things get discouraging. And let me just say, if you are starting to feel like you're discouraged and you want to quit, and things aren't happening the way you thought they would, or whatever, you can also send me an email, and I can try to help you with that. Maybe give you some tools to help you through when things are discouraging. Maybe there's something, if you get a little more specific in, how often you're running, how far you're getting, give me some specifics about your running, and then maybe I can identify some ways that you can improve and different things that you can do to try to get you to a happier place, a more encouraged place. So, and then also remember always that a goal is always going to be changing. Okay, you're especially with running or exercise or things like that. It's part of the process. It's not a failure. Okay, if you don't reach a goal or you have to change your goal, okay, that is part of the process. It's part of running. It's part of training. It's what training is for. All of us who run, we always have to adjust our goals. We have to adjust sometimes run by run. And, sometimes we are lucky in training and we get to adjust our goal up. Okay, run for 6 minutes. We get to adjust our training up so that the goal is something that we didn't think we were going to be able to reach, but now it looks like maybe we are. But a lot of times it's adjusting down and saying, okay, I am wearing myself out. I am, overtraining. I'm injuring myself. My goal of whatever X needs to not be as fast, or not, maybe some people have to go from a marathon to a half marathon, or half marathon to a 10K, whatever. But these adjustments, that is just part of it. So, try to accept it now and don't look at it as a failure. Because if you have to adjust, but you're still going and you're still working and you're still training, then that's a win. So I know that sometimes we look at goals and set goals, and we think that if we can't do it, then, well, that was awful, or, whatever. But no, especially when it comes to exercise or training or running or whatever, that's part of it. That's part of the process. You are not going to reach your goals in the time frame that you want 100% of the time. Now, if you do, what I tell clients is if they are reaching their goals 100% of their time and they're never having to adjust, well, then they're in the lucky position of their goals aren't big enough. So you may even be in that category now or in the future. But yeah, just know that that's just a part of it. And it's not easy and it's not fun. I can tell you that. I had to not even run a race last year because my body was just not into it. I was not getting in any of the training near enough to be able to run a marathon. And so I didn't start it. I didn't run it. And that happens. So adjustments happen for everybody. The other thing I want to talk about, and I sound like a Debbie Downer today, but is how are you feeling with the running, like from a support standpoint, from like your family, your friends? Is this something you're sharing with people, and are they supportive of it? Is it something you wish you had a little bit more support with? Is anyone being unsupportive? It can be hard with your doing this and no one else around you is doing it. and they don't understand why you're doing it. So again, if you're feeling like you need a bit of support, first of all, you can join the Facebook group, and we can talk about it over there. Send me an email if you'd rather not it be a public thing. But yeah, check in with yourself, and are you feeling supported in what you're doing? Because it can be lonely when you're especially making some kind of a healthy change or getting into a sport that you've not done before, and you can feel like you're the only one, and it can be lonely. So make sure you are, again, being honest with yourself about how the mental game of this is going, and make sure that if you're not being supported, that you find a way to get supported. Join a running club, find a partner. There's a website that I don't remember the name of it right now, but I will link to it in the show notes about that can find running partners in your city, your area, or whatever. And you can also go to running stores like Fleet Feet, or whatever. You might have some kind of mom and pop running store around you, and they usually have running clubs or group runs. Those are excellent ways to just meet people who are doing what you're doing, and especially this time of year during January, February, and it's what's that word? I don't do them, so maybe that's why I can't think of the word. But resolution, New Year's resolution, yeah. Resolution season. So you are going to find people in these places and spaces that are exactly where you are. And online there could be forums, different things that can help you get support if you're feeling like you're kind of alone in all of this. The RRCA website also has running clubs and coaches in your area. Okay, walk for 2 minutes. That you can also hook up with to help you with your running and with your feeling supported. Now, the other thing is your confidence level, I'm hoping, is going up. I hope that when you're out and about, you're feeling much more confident in your running. I hope you're feeling like you're stronger in your running, and that you're not self-conscious about it. And I know that can take a long time to get over, so maybe for some of you it's still it's still a struggle for you to get out to the door because you are very hyper aware and feeling judgment or whatever. That is a real thing, and it takes some doing to be able to comfortably go out and just go for a run and not think about it. So the more tools that you have, the more confident you are going to feel, and the more information that you have, which is why I talk about a whole gamut of things as we're running together, because knowledge really is power, and knowing something about running and the mental side of it and all the different things will help you to feel more competent and in turn more confident, because you'll know something about it. And even give some of the other podcast episodes I have a listen on your other runs, so that you can even learn more about this sport. Okay, run 6 minutes, and this is your final run already. Can you believe it? I tell you, for me it goes by fast. And I think because I'm talking, and I'm not really thinking about it. So that's something you can try too if you're finding that these runs are feeling like a long time is, just talk to yourself. I look like I have my phone out, so I look like I'm just probably on the phone with somebody as I'm running. But you can listen to podcasts or, make your own podcast of your journey and talking to yourself for 30 minutes about whatever. And really have the time go by faster than if you're just running and not listening to anything or not doing anything else. So for next week, we're going to do all of the same things. Like I said in the beginning, you're just going to have the 5 minutes and you can decide how you want to break up your warm-up. And I'm going to direct you to a little bit more warm-ups that you can incorporate and while you design your own warm-up there, okay? Remember, if you're running 4 times a week, you can up it to 5. If you're running 3, maybe your goal for this week is to up it to 4. And even if you don't get the whole 35 or 40 minutes in, even if you up it to, go for a 15-minute 6-2, and, when you're done, you're done, just to try to get in an extra workout. And then at the end of the week, I want you to figure out what your mileage or kilometers were, depending on where you're from, and try to get to the next whole number. And by that, I mean either a 0.5 or a 0. So either the next half mile or the next mile. Might take a little bit more to figure out if you're kilometers, but I'm really a bad student when it comes to meters and kilometers, and I'm always having to look stuff up because I clearly did not absorb those lessons when I was in 2nd grade, back when we were told that when we were adults it was going to be kilometers by the time we started to drive and go places. And I'm 55 and that's not happened yet, so I'm not holding up much hope. Okay, now next week I should have more information on the live 30-minute run. I'm exploring right now exactly how to do that. And yeah, it's not super duper easy. So I may have to enlist the genius of my son who knows how to do this kind of stuff. And I should have more information for you next week for that. Now, next week is a 7-3, and that's going to, you'll be up another minute for the run, but you also get an extra minute of recovery. So, and that will be 10 minutes total for each interval. And so you're only going to have 3 of those next week, which is kind of cool. The less intervals you have, the longer you are spending running. And so that should feel like an accomplishment for you. And next week, because we are starting to get into longer and longer run times, I'm going to talk about rest and recovery and how to implement some rest and recovery into your week. And we'll just talk a little bit about what that all means and looks like for runners, because it is part of training and it's very important. And your body cannot just go, no matter what we might like to think. And so we are going to frame rest and recovery as a tool for training, not as just, I'm not going out for a run that day or today. Okay, so You have about 45 seconds left. Now it's done a 35 for this last run. We'll have a 2-minute recovery and then only a 3-minute cool down, because you're getting in like 5 minutes of walking after the run. Now, if you want to, you can add an extra 2 minutes to have a full 5-minute cool down. What that will do is edge you a little further down the road and a little closer to, okay, recover 2 minutes, and a little closer to that goal of having a longer distance that you're doing. Okay, had to stop for just a second. All right. Now, if you are having difficulty keeping up, or getting all the runs in, then it might be time to kind of sit down and see where things that you can move around or reschedule is eating up your time. I know, so a lot of people, they can't do X, whatever physical fitness that they are thinking they want to do, because they say they have no time. And it may be a matter of you having to actually physically write down how you're spending your time, and rearranging things so that half hour you're mindlessly scrolling on Facebook, you're going out for a run instead, or you're moving, that half hour to the morning, and in the evening, maybe, that half hour is not going to be there, but you'll have had your run to get in, and then you'll have to do all the other things that you have to do in the evening. That is, your normal routine, cooking dinner, cleaning up, whatever. But there are things that all of us do all the time that eat up minutes, and then we think that we don't have the time to run. Okay, cool down for 3 minutes. And it seems like a, I don't know, pointless exercise, I guess, maybe. To do that, to actually physically sit down and write down everything that you're doing over the course of a day. But if you are at least mindful of it, if at least when you're scrolling on Facebook, say, and you catch yourself and you look at the clock and you're like, oh my goodness, I sat down at whatever 5 and it's now 5:20. That's 20 minutes that you could have been out running, and probably you could find an extra 10 or 20 minutes within that. So it's only going to be good for you to find these things, these times, to be able to go out and to get this done. And so my encouragement is, if you're finding that carving out this time is getting hard, or you feel like you can't do it, maybe time management needs to be become a priority, where you're figuring out when you can, and just being very, very proactive about it, and just making sure that you are getting out and you're doing it. So yeah, just a little pep talk from your coach that identify ways that you have barriers to doing this, if you are struggling with that, and try to overcome them. And again, I'm here for you. If you need me to encourage you or help you to find solutions to some of this, just email me. Say, hey, listen, this is my life. This is what I'm doing. Can you objectively see where I can carve out this time to become a runner? And, maybe I can help get you there or help you with some of these barriers to getting out there and running. Because it's going to feel really hard from here on out, if it doesn't already, if you're only running once or twice a week. If you're my client, I would be telling you that you are not to advance in any running minutes until you are running at least the 3 times a week. So, one point of discouragement, okay, and workout over. And you have to get those runs in order to start having things feeling a little bit better and a little easier. I told you that things will feel easier as you run and as you stick with it and get better, get more confident. But that is not going to happen if you're only running once or twice a week. So get that 3rd run in if you haven't. Get that 4th run in if you haven't. If you're already running 4 times, try and get that 5th one in and see what happens. All right, guys, the workout is over. You can continue to walk it out, and I will see you next week.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you know another runner who could benefit from today's topic, go ahead and share it. Do you have any running questions? You can ask me. Email me at sherry@wrinkledrunner.com, and if I can't answer your question, I will do the research to find the answer and share it with you. The questions I get from listeners like you help me develop episodes, so please don't be shy. You can sign up for my once-a-month newsletter using the link provided so that you can have all the Wrinkled Runner resources from the past month all in one place. I also have opened up my virtual coaching in addition to coaching one-on-one with those in the Buffalo, New York area. So head to my coaching page on the Wrinkled Runner website, which I will, of course, link to, and check out how we may be able to work together. Until next Monday, thanks for listening, and I'll see you on the run.